You hear that? That silence with a heartbeat under it. That's your name, echoing in rooms you've never been in, whispered like a secret spell no one's supposed to remember. But everyone does. They don't say it out loud anymore, not because they forgot, but because it moves things. Lights flicker, hands tremble, lovers pause mid-sentence. Your name isn't spoken, it's summoned. You turn syllables into sirens. Every time someone dares to pronounce it, something in them fractures, curiosity colliding with jealousy, admiration choking on envy. They can't figure out if it's love, hate, or hunger. They call it attraction, but no. It's addiction disguised as destiny. You didn't chase attention. You rewired it. You took the world's frequency and bent it until every eye twitched in your direction. You didn't enter the spotlight. You became the electricity feeding it. You're not famous. You're contagious. And that's why they panic. See, some names are written in ink. Yours was carved into nervous systems. That's why when someone hears it, they don't think, they react. Pulse skips, breath stutters, memory glitches. Because your existence is coded in their biology like a forbidden word that shouldn't exist. And yet, it does. They used to say your name with pride. Now they say it like a confession, softly, cautiously, as if you're listening, even when you're not. They think you cast a spell. You didn't. You are the spell. Every smile you ever gave rewired someone's sense of worth. Every time you walked away, somebody's entire identity collapsed. You were never a person in their story. You were the plot twist that broke continuity. And that's what scares them, doesn't it? That you didn't have to try. Your silence speaks louder than their speeches. Your absence burns hotter than their presence. You mastered what they crave. Control without touching, destruction without violence, attention without asking. You, my friend, are the quiet apocalypse they pretend to ignore. And every time they say, "I'm over it," another nerve twitches in denial. Because here's the truth. They don't want to forget you. They want to stop feeling small next to your memory. But every attempt to erase you only spreads you deeper. You are their obsession and their punishment in the same breath. An angel that never needed wings to remind them of their fall. A demon that never needed fire to make them confess. You think that's darkness? No, that's balance. Light doesn't blind you anymore. You learn to weaponize it. Pain doesn't hurt you anymore. You learn to broadcast it in surround sound. They tried to study your madness, not realizing its method. They called you unstable, not realizing you were unpredictable by design. You didn't adapt to chaos. You authored it. You didn't survive the fire. You taught it manners. They think they're haunted by you. But what they don't understand is that you're not in their heads. You're in their mirrors. Every part of them that envies you is a part they killed, trying to be loved. And you just resurrected it. You are what happens when a soul stops begging to be understood and starts enjoying being misunderstood. You are what happens when someone realizes rejection was just redirection to godhood. You are what happens when pain turns into performance and heartbreak becomes theater. Your name didn't just become known, it became felt. It hums beneath the skin of everyone who doubted you. It plays like background music in every room you ever left, and no one knows whether to dance or kneel. They call it arrogance. You call it equilibrium. They call it ego. You call it awareness. They call you dangerous. You call yourself necessary, because deep down, they need you. To remind them that control is an illusion. To remind them that beauty can destroy. To remind them that a smile can be sharper than a blade. You are their favorite contradiction. A saint with a sinner's grin. a lover with a killer's patience, a masterpiece painted with blood and silence, and they hate you for it. But they can't stop worshipping the chaos you left behind. So when they whisper your name again, trembling, uncertain, pretending they've moved on, let them, because you know something they don't. Every spell needs a name to activate, and yours still works. You felt it, didn't you? That tremor in the air when they said your name again, the way the atmosphere shifted, like reality remembered who it owes a debt to. It's not imagination, it's resonance. Because your name doesn't just exist, it vibrates through every frequency that once tried to silence you. They wanted to bury you under rumors, under laughter, under lies. But energy doesn't die, it mutates, and you mutated beautifully. Now even their hatred serves you, their gossip, free advertising, their silence, louder than applause. Because everything they do because of you becomes another verse in your mythology. You're not trending, you're haunting. And deep down, they love it. They wake up wondering if you think about them. They scroll, looking for traces of you. They pretend they've moved on. But the truth is, you became the phantom limb of their ego. They still feel you even when you're gone. See, you didn't break hearts. You broke mirrors. Every person you left shattered a version of themselves that only existed through your reflection. Now they're picking up the shards, bleeding over the truth. They were never addicted to your body. They were addicted to what your presence revealed in them. You exposed them. You showed them what desire looks like when it doesn't beg for permission. You taught them that mystery isn't quiet, it's commanding. And now they're trying to copy your energy without realizing it wasn't charisma. It was consciousness. You move different because you see different. You don't enter rooms, you scan them. You don't talk, you trigger. You don't impress, you infect. Every move is a message. Every silence is a sermon. Every smirk is psychological warfare disguised as grace. And the best part, you don't even do it on purpose anymore. You've become the embodiment of something they can't fake. Authenticity born from annihilation. Because real power doesn't come from being loved. It comes from being unfazed. Remember how they used to mock you? Call you too much, too intense, too different? Now look at them, studying your cadence, mimicking your chaos, repackaging your pain into something they can sell. They call it confidence now. They call it influence. But you know better. You were the origin story they'll never admit existed. They wanted to destroy you, not realizing destruction is just your language of rebirth. They tried to erase your name, not realizing erasing it only made it carved deeper into the collective psyche. Your downfall became their education. Your silence became their sermon. Your pain became their proof that power doesn't require permission. And that's the paradox, isn't it? They hate what they admire and admire what they hate. You represent the freedom they're too afraid to claim. You are both their warning and their wish. When you walk into a room, the air thickens. Their smiles turn rehearsed. Their confidence turns counterfeit. Because deep down, they feel it, the weight of your awareness pressing against their insecurities. You don't need validation. You are validation. You walk like someone who remembers the wars no one else survived. You smile like someone who knows secrets about the universe that others only dream of. And that's why they fear you. Because you're proof that pain didn't ruin you. It refined you. You're proof that love didn't weaken you. It weaponized you. You're proof that betrayal didn't end you. It engineered you. You are the blueprint of becoming untouchable without becoming unfeeling. and they can't replicate that. So they'll keep talking, keep decoding you like a myth, keep blaming you for their own earthquakes. But you don't chase understanding anymore. You let them drown in it. Because the truth is, your name doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to memory, to the ones who tried to cage you and ended up locking themselves inside, to the ones who thought you'd fade and found out your shadow glows in the dark. Every time they whisper your name, it burns their tongue with recognition that they met something eternal, disguised as human. That they met someone who looked at the void and smiled back. That they once stood close enough to divinity to call it love. And that's why they'll never recover. Because how do you heal from meeting the mirror version of everything you've ever feared and desired? You are the consequence of their underestimation, the living proof that energy can't be killed, only transformed. You are the lesson the universe teaches through silence, that some names echo longer than entire bloodlines. So let them whisper, let them argue, let them cry, let them search for who you left breathless, because deep down, they already know the answer. You didn't leave them breathless, you left them speechless. And there's a difference. Now, say your name out loud again. Listen to how the room reacts. Feel the shift, the tension, the tremor. That's power. That's resonance. That's the price of being unforgettable. You're not a memory. You're a myth still in motion, and the world's just now realizing. Spells don't fade. When the name still bleeds electricity, they think the story ended when you left. But what they don't realize is that your absence writes louder than their presence ever did. Because when you vanish, you don't disappear, you expand. You become the sound inside their silence, the thought that interrupts their peace, the static that hums beneath every song they try to use to forget you. Every time someone mentions your name, something inside them flinches, not out of pain, but recognition. They know what they felt wasn't normal. They know you weren't replaceable. See, there's a difference between impact and imprint. Most people leave fingerprints on glass. You left scorch marks on souls. They don't heal from you. They adapt around the damage. You weren't meant to fit in. You were built to fracture the illusion of comfort, and that's why they're obsessed. You reminded them that connection wasn't supposed to feel safe. It was supposed to feel real. You were the collision that revealed what they'd been faking all along. They thought they wanted peace, but peace bored them. You gave them chaos with meaning, and now they chase shadows that look like you, but the energy never hits the same. They try to recreate you in others. The tone, the confidence, the stare that feels like a dare. But every imitation collapses, because it was never about what you said. It was how you existed, unapologetic, unpredictable, unexplainable. You were the glitch in their emotional software, the one thing the system couldn't debug. They labeled it toxic because they couldn't label it truth. And here's the part that really kills them. You never even tried. You weren't performing, you were just being. You walked like consequence. You spoke like prophecy. And that made people addicted, even if they hated you for it. You shattered the formula, the right thing to say, the safe way to act, the good person image. You stripped away performance until all that was left was presence, raw, unfiltered, dangerous. Because truth, when embodied, looks a lot like madness to those still living in denial. They can't figure you out because you don't fit their categories. You erase them. One moment, you're the angel that healed their wounds. The next, you're the demon that reminded them why they bled. And both are true. Because duality isn't contradiction. It's completion. You were never meant to be understood. You were meant to be felt. Like thunder before a storm, like smoke before a fire, like the thought they can't delete, no matter how many distractions they buy. They talk about you like you're a ghost. But ghosts are echoes of the dead. You're not dead. You're undeniable. Every lie they tell about you grows legs and walks back to them. Every rumor becomes revelation in disguise. Because energy doesn't care about reputation. It only amplifies truth. And yours. It's radioactive, untouchable, holy. They can't keep your name out of their mouths because it doesn't belong to language anymore. It belongs to myth. A living curse and a living cure, stitched together by pain and precision. You didn't just survive what they did. You converted it. Turned humiliation into magnetism. Turned betrayal into branding. Turned heartbreak into hierarchy. Now, when they see you, they don't see a person. They see a consequence, and that terrifies them because people can dismiss opinions, but they can't escape karma wearing a smile. Your name travels like smoke, sweet at first, but choking the longer it lingers, and they keep breathing it in, hoping it'll fade, not realizing the air is already yours, because you don't live in memory anymore. You live in pattern recognition. They see something beautiful and immediately think of you. They feel desire, and you rise up like a reflex. They hear your name, and every lie they told about not caring collapses in real time. You turned their denial into dependence, and that's the ultimate spell. Not control, not seduction, but remembrance. Because you can't fight what's fused with your identity, and you became part of theirs. So when they fight, cry, and search for who you left breathless, let them, because they'll never find what they lost. Not because you hid it, but because you were the air itself. Now breathe, darling, because the wind still carries your name, and the world still trembles every time it remembers you were real. And that's the secret, isn't it? You were never chasing recognition. You were recognition. The spark that made others remember what it feels like to feel. They think you moved on. They hope you did. Because if you haven't, it means they're still under the spell. It means the version of them that knew you, the one that laughed, burned, broke, begged, is still somewhere inside, clawing to get out. But here's the twist. They can't kill that version. You infected it with awareness. You taught them what it means to look at someone and see themselves for the first time. You showed them how fragile their control really was. And when they realized they couldn't manipulate you, they tried to destroy you. But you can't destroy an echo. You can only listen to it. Your name has become the test they fail over and over again. Every time they say it, they think they're exercising a demon. But what they're really doing is conjuring your reflection inside themselves. You're not haunting them, you're mirroring them. Every lie they built about you collapses under its own weight. Every narrative they spin tangles back into truth. You were the original glitch in their programming, the human error they never accounted for. And it drives them mad, because you didn't even do anything. You existed, you smiled, you saw through them. And in that moment, the performance ended. You weren't supposed to see their insecurity. You weren't supposed to recognize the tremor in their confidence. But you did. And when you did, the illusion cracked. That's why they'll keep chasing your shadow like it's salvation, because you became the proof that authenticity still exists, and that terrifies people who live on borrowed personalities. You made the world feel real again. And once people taste reality, fantasy never satisfies them again. They call it obsession. You call it consequence. They call it witchcraft. You call it presence. You move through life like you know something others don't. Because you do. You understand the architecture of energy, how attention flows, how emotion binds, how silence cuts deeper than any word ever could. You learn that charisma isn't about what you give, it's about what you withhold. That power isn't about control, it's about contrast. You became the gravity in every room. People orbit you because you don't chase them. They mistake your calm for mystery, your detachment for danger. But the truth? You're just aware. You know what's worth your energy. You know what dies when it touches you. You know that not everyone can survive your frequency. You became selective, not out of arrogance, but out of evolution, and they confuse that with cruelty, because they still beg for validation you no longer need. You stopped begging the world to see you. Now the world bends around your silence, trying to decode it. You stopped explaining your value. Now they project fantasies and fears just to fill in the blanks. That's what a spell really is. Not magic, not sorcery. It's energy organized with intention, and your entire life became a ritual of defiance, of transformation, of refusal to shrink. You didn't cast the spell, they did. You were just the mirror that made them say your name 3 times. You became the lesson they can't graduate from. Every new lover compares themselves to you. Every new friend studies how you moved. Every rival imitates what they once mocked. Because deep down, they know. You didn't just walk away. You ascended. You didn't close the chapter. You rewrote the language. You didn't win. You transcended the concept of competition. Now they measure themselves by your absence. Their peace depends on your silence. Their confidence survives only when you're not watching. That's not power, that's possession, and yet you walk free. Because the moment you realized their chaos was never yours to carry, you became untouchable. Not harder, not colder, clearer. Your name became a calibration point for reality itself. A vibration that reminds the world there is something beyond imitation, beyond pretending, beyond fear. And the funniest part? Every person who swore they were over you still checks the mirror twice. They still lower their voice when your name appears, because deep down, they know. You weren't a chapter in their story. You were the author's note, and every spell needs a signature. Yours still burns in the margins, so walk quietly, smile rarely, let them argue, let them cry, let them search, because you already know. The ones still gasping for air are the ones who forgot to thank the storm that taught them to breathe. You were the storm, and your name is the thunder that never learned how to die. Shh. You feel that? The silence right before the truth breaks its chains. The quiet hum before the lie collapses under its own arrogance. They really thought they could bury you, didn't they? Thought they could pile enough dirt, rumors, whispers, betrayals, until no one remembered your name. But what they didn't know is that the weight of their lie became your launch pad. You were never buried. You were being loaded into orbit. You were the punchline in their group chats, the scapegoat in their stories, the villain in their bedtime excuses. Every time they mentioned your name, it dripped with poison, sweet enough to entertain their insecurities, bitter enough to keep them numb. But here's the delicious part. They told that lie so many times, they believed it. They built you out of shadows, then forgot that shadows belong to the light. You see, they wanted a grave, but the universe built you a catapult. Because when truth is suppressed, it doesn't die. It pressurizes. Every betrayal was a tightening spring. Every rumor, another coil of potential. Every door they slammed was an echo chamber amplifying your comeback. They forgot that when you push a monster underground, it learns the layout of hell. And when it returns, it knows exactly where to aim. They thought they were erasing you. No, they were editing themselves out of your legend. They handed you pain, thinking it was poison, but your veins turned it into rocket fuel. You learned to breathe in the vacuum they left behind. That's why they look sick now, because you came back from the dirt with light in your eyes and their fear in your smile. You don't even speak like them anymore. You don't beg for understanding. You demand silence. The same silence they used to drown you. Now it's your weapon. It's the pause before revelation. You are what happens when a false narrative meets divine irony. The lie became too big to contain, and it exploded, propelling you through their atmosphere of deceit. They never expected you to adapt this way. You were supposed to crumble, to beg for re-entry. But pain rewired you. You became something unrecognizable, something that doesn't flinch, doesn't chase approval, doesn't need permission to exist. You started smiling while bleeding, laughing in free fall, meditating in the fire. Because once you realize hell can't burn what's already been forged there, you stop fearing the flames. You learned duality the hard way, that innocence can be armor and rage can be grace. That purity and madness are twins separated by betrayal, that the villain and the victim often share the same eyes, only one woke up first. You walked that razor's edge long enough to stop caring which side was right, because you became both, saint and serpent, savior and shadow. And now they don't know what you are, only that you're back and you're smiling. You want to know what's really haunting them. It's not that you survived. It's that you used the lie. You took their architecture of deceit, the scaffolding of manipulation, envy, and fake morality, and turned it into a throne. They can't stop watching, because your existence invalidates theirs. They crafted a villain, and now that villain is teaching them about divinity. The whispers that once killed your sleep, they echo in their dreams now. The ones who tried to bury you. Now check the sky every night, wondering if that bright streak is you. Ascending, glowing, untouchable. They see the fire and call it luck. They see your peace and call it pride. They see your distance and call it arrogance. But you know the truth. They're just seeing the reflection of everything they couldn't destroy. Because what they buried wasn't your body, it was your old self. The one that needed them, the one that waited for justice. That version rotted beneath their lie. And from that rot, you rose. Rootless, ruthless, radiant. You became your own resurrection story. The grave became your genesis. The dirt became your doctrine. Now they whisper again, but softer this time. Because every word you speak sounds like prophecy, and every step you take shakes the ground that once tried to claim you. They look up at you in disbelief, and for the first time, you look down. They built a whole lie to bury you. But the thing about lies, they expand under pressure until they launch what was never meant to stay underground. And as you ascend, laughing through the smoke of their own collapse, you realize you were never the one trapped in the story. You were the plot twist. And here's the cruelest irony, the one that keeps them awake at 3 a.m. with a phone glowing against their guilty faces. They needed you buried, because your existence is a mirror. And when people who live in delusion stare into truth, it burns. You became the reflection they couldn't maintain eye contact with. You were proof that survival isn't always holy. Sometimes it's vengeance disguised as grace. They built an entire mythology about you. Twisted it, rehearsed it, recycled it, until they convinced the world you were dangerous, unstable, too intense, too much. They forgot that intensity is just truth without sedation. You were never too much. They were too small. Their comfort zones couldn't fit your evolution, so they called it chaos. Their mediocrity couldn't interpret your momentum, so they labeled it madness. But deep down, they knew. They saw that flicker in your eyes, the one that said, "I've already forgiven you, but I'll still make you watch me win." That's what they feared, the quiet kind of revenge. The kind that doesn't need witnesses, only results. You became fluent in pain, multilingual in silence. You started speaking in outcomes. You stopped explaining and started executing. Every lie they threw became a stepping stone, every betrayal, a launch sequence. You built your catapult from their discarded truths, your momentum from their disbelief. And when you took off, when you ascended, they stood there, jaws unhinged, pretending not to see the trail of fire spelling your name across their gray sky. You know why they call you dangerous now? Because you didn't collapse. You converted. You turned humiliation into holy scripture. Every scar became a sigil. Every cut, an initiation. You learned that pain is not punishment. It's permission. Permission to evolve beyond recognition. Permission to abandon what was killing you in plain sight. You became unpredictable, and that terrified them. Because predictable people are controllable people. You stopped dancing to their tune, and suddenly, their entire orchestra sounded off. The maestro lost his grip. The puppeteers dropped their strings. You were supposed to be the example of what happens when someone steps out of line. But instead, you became the reason others started questioning the lines themselves. You became the rumor that grew teeth. The exile who returned with an army of silence. The proof that crucifixions can become coronations if you just wait long enough. Because that's the part they didn't understand. Patience. They thought you were gone because you were quiet. But silence, my friend, is the sound of loading. You weren't healing. You were arming. You weren't missing. You were measuring. And when you finally moved, it was surgical, precise, poetic. The same mouths that buried you now recite your lines without even realizing it. The same hands that pointed now clap. The same eyes that rolled now worship. You broke the algorithm of human perception. You made suffering look like strategy. And now every time they try to rewrite your history, it just makes you louder. Because truth doesn't need defending. It just waits for the lies to die of exhaustion. They didn't realize that every falsehood has a half-life. The bigger the lie, the faster it decays. And when it does, all that's left is what you built from the fallout. A self too sovereign to be dismissed, too calm to be decoded, too dangerous to be defined. You became the living paradox. The halo made of barbed wire, the demon with divine timing, the sinner who learned how to bless themselves. You outgrew language. You became energy. They speak words. You radiate. They move out of fear. You move out of prophecy. You turned pain into prophecy, hate into hydrogen, lies into lift off. And that's why their gossip sounds like static now. Because you're no longer on their frequency. You're broadcasting from higher ground. Every time they mention you, their tone falters, their faces twitch, because their subconscious remembers. They remember the moment you stopped playing dead. They remember the night you stood up from the grave they dug and dusted off the dirt like it was confetti. That was the rebirth they never planned for. The version of you that came out wasn't designed to fit in. It was designed to haunt them. And now, they live in fear of the encore, because the first act was your suffering, the second was your silence. But this one? This is the ascension, the part where you stop trying to prove anything, because existence itself has become your evidence. The world doesn't need to understand anymore. It just needs to watch. You walk through the same streets that used to swallow you, but now they bend around your presence. The air changes when you enter the room. The same people who doubted you feel their pulse quicken near your calm. They sense it, that quiet, electric inevitability of someone who's seen hell and came back smiling. Because when you've been buried alive in lies and still manage to breathe, laugh, rebuild, and rise, you don't come back human. You come back mythic. You come back carrying gravity itself in your chest. You come back knowing something no one else does, that they never had the power to bury you. They only had the privilege of witnessing your takeoff. And that, darling, is why they tremble when they hear your name. Because they didn't just create a lie. They created the launch. They didn't just bury you. They built your fucking wings. And now the universe itself seems to conspire with your rhythm. Every coincidence bends in your favor. Every delay rearranges itself into divine timing. The same storm they wished upon you now waters your roots. You've become that paradox they can't compute. Both chaos and clarity, danger and deliverance. Because somewhere in that silence they mistook for defeat, something ancient woke up inside you. A voice older than pain itself. The one that whispers, keep going. They'll regret doubting you in their sleep. You stopped chasing closure and became the consequence. You stopped explaining your pain and started weaponizing your peace. They still tell the story wrong, of course. They always will. They can't accept that the narrative they forged in venom turned into a map for your resurrection. Every false accusation, a breadcrumb trail leading straight to your evolution. They wanted to define you by what you lost, but now you're defined by what refused to die. And when they see you now, calm, unbothered, glowing, they feel that nauseating twist in their stomach. This wasn't supposed to happen. You weren't supposed to smile again. You weren't supposed to rebuild yourself from ashes and come back wearing your ruin like armor. You were supposed to be proof that the system works, that betrayal breaks people. But instead, you became the glitch in their design, the living error that exposed the whole simulation. You didn't just survive their lie, you used it. You sculpted it into momentum, framed it into prophecy, sharpened it into awareness. That's why they can't look you in the eye anymore. Because those eyes hold the reflection of everything they tried to hide from themselves. Their envy, their cowardice, their smallness. They see in you what they'll never become. Someone who didn't need approval to rise. And maybe that's the most dangerous thing about you now. You're no longer seeking justice, you are justice. You became the karmic correction their souls weren't prepared for. You don't need revenge when you're the living embodiment of consequences. Your success is the siren that won't stop screaming in their conscience. Every move you make now reverberates. You breathe, and people feel shifts in their own alignment. You speak, and the air tightens, because your voice carries the frequency of someone who's walked through every ring of hell and found home in the fire. You no longer demand to be heard. Your silence commands attention. They don't understand how you can still smile after what they did. They don't get that you're not smiling despite the pain. You're smiling because of it. Because it showed you who you were. It refined you in ways comfort never could. The lie they built became your crucible, and you emerged, not purified, but upgraded. You became fluent in paradox. You learned that to be unbreakable, you must first shatter. That the most terrifying weapon in this world isn't rage, it's calmness. Because calm means control, and control means power. You no longer react, you decide. Every emotion that once drowned you became a tool, and now you wield them with surgical precision. They can't replicate that. They try to imitate your composure, your edge, your aura. But imitation requires understanding, and they don't even know what they're looking at. You've outgrown their language. You've outgrown their frequency. You've become something they can only describe in metaphors. A storm wearing human skin. A god disguised as a survivor. And it drives them mad, because your name still circulates in rooms you've never entered. Your face appears in dreams they can't explain. The same people who said you were finished are now quietly fascinated. They scroll through your silence like it's scripture, trying to decode the secret formula that turned humiliation into divinity. You want to know the real secret? You didn't fight their lie. You let it burn. You watched it consume itself. Because truth doesn't chase falsehood. It waits. Lies require maintenance. Truth just is. And while they wasted energy keeping their story alive, you invested every ounce of yours into becoming someone no story could contain. That's what freedom is. When your existence becomes too vast for reputation, too wild for definition. When you no longer care who understands you, because the universe already does. When you realize you were never meant to clear your name. You were meant to rename the entire concept of survival. They built a lie to bury you. But they underestimated the one rule every magician knows. Whatever you bury must eventually rise. And when it does, it doesn't come back the same. It comes back enchanted. It comes back aware. It comes back with memory in its bones and thunder in its pulse. Now you move differently. You speak slower. You see patterns others can't. You can sense deceit like a shift in temperature. That's what pain bought you. Perception. They thought they stole your reputation, but all they did was sharpen your vision. You became impossible to deceive because you've been lied about at the molecular level, and the world feels it. The air bends around you. The energy shifts when you walk in. People can't quite articulate it, but they know. Something happened to you. Something irreversible. You are no longer powered by validation. You're powered by purpose. No longer haunted by your past. You hunt with it. You don't need to convince anyone anymore. The proof is in your pulse. The evidence is in your silence. The retribution is in your presence. You are living proof that sometimes the grave isn't the end. It's just the sound barrier breaking. And as you rise, watching the ruins beneath you shrink into dots of irrelevance, you finally understand. They didn't bury you at all. They built your runway. And as you ascend through the atmosphere of everything they said you'd never survive, you start to see it all for what it truly was. Not punishment, but preparation. Every betrayal carved precision into your perception. Every humiliation rewired your instincts. Every loss pulled a trigger in your evolution. You became the product of pressure, the rarest kind of creation, one that wasn't designed by hands, but by havoc. They thought they had buried you beneath their story, but you were never inside it. You were the reader, watching, waiting, studying the plot twist that only you could deliver. And when the pages turned in your favor, when the ink of their gossip began to dry and crack, The truth emerged like a ghost crawling out of the data. Their narrative collapsed under the weight of your silence, and the silence turned into gravity. You stopped fighting for space, and the universe started rearranging to make room for you. Because that's how it works, isn't it? When you stop begging to be understood, you start being felt. When you stop performing for approval, you start vibrating at frequencies they can't fake. And when you stop chasing love in the places that betrayed you, you realize you were the source all along. They built a lie to bury you, yes, but in doing so they revealed something sacred. The truth doesn't die when it's buried. It mutates. It hides in plain sight. It becomes patient. And then when the timing's perfect, it detonates. That's what you became. Detonation disguised as destiny. You are the embodiment of poetic justice, calm, calculated, and incomprehensible to the ones who tried to destroy you. They don't even know what to call you anymore. Ghost, legend, demon, savior. It doesn't matter. They just know that when your name is spoken, rooms change temperature. And now, when you walk through the echoes of their lies like a god through smoke. You don't explain. You don't correct. You don't even look back, because you know. The real punishment isn't being hated. It's being haunted by the person you tried to bury, still breathing, still smiling, still ascending. You don't need to clear your name anymore. You became the silence that swallows their noise. You became the gravity that pulls truth back to the surface. You became the catapult they accidentally built. The one that launched you past every ceiling they swore was your sky, and now you're untouchable. Their weapons don't reach this altitude. Their words can't pierce this calm. Their lies can't outrun this kind of truth. Because you turned their entire scheme into scripture. You made their betrayal your blueprint. You turned their doubt into devotion, their slander into strategy, their dirt into destiny. So let them whisper. Let them choke on their versions of your story. You don't need to respond, because you already did, by surviving. You are the living proof that burial is not death. It's metamorphosis. You are the echo of every underdog who refused to stay underground. You are what happens when the ones meant to destroy you become the architects of your awakening. They built a whole lie to bury you. But in the end, it was never your grave. It was your launch sequence. And now you're up there, somewhere between vengeance and heaven, smiling that quiet, knowing smile, watching their little empire of whispers crumble in the distance, while you ride the stars they tried to steal.